didn't realize that I took my stuff off my playlist last night.
Yeah.
Because my goal was just to play a couple of songs and keep my playlist running. But nope, I just changed my playlist. I just took it off my playlist entirely. It was annoying.
I thought your playlist was like every song ever.
No, not my thumbs up playlist, which is what I prefer to keep it on.
Okay.
My thumbs up playlist has a huge genre variety, but it's not every song ever. But it does have a huge variety of genres. But because I keep losing my Google Play subscription and then buying it back after the fact, I've lost a lot of playlists. Even though it keeps the playlist names. It's like, oh yeah, this was a playlist. It's like, can you not just keep the playlist? And it keeps my thumbs up. So in order to get my thumbs up playlist back, I just have to remember every band that I've added and add them back and add the albums that they're in. And it'll immediately add them to my thumbs up. It's like, so you remember the thumbs up, but you can't just automatically add the band back on there. And then there's like 12 bands that are always on my phone. Like, when I lose my playlist option abilities, or when I lose my subscription and then add back up, it automatically adds these 12 bands from A to Z. And I'm like, how? Why? But then I have to actually go in there and add those into the bands and add the albums back. So like it just keeps the bands, but doesn't keep the albums.
Oh, that's annoying. I've been having a problem where I'll go to add a band to my library and it just adds an album. Wait, is that the same thing? No, you said the opposite, right? It doesn't keep the albums, but it keeps the band.
Yeah.
I've been having the opposite problem.
The question though is if you're going into that band and it's not originally their song, it'll just only pull it up as like the album of that thing and then put it on like their variety, or it'll put it on like whoever the original artist was. Because that's something I've noticed is like I'm like, oh, this song is awesome, and the band that I'm listening to is the one singing it, so I'll go to it, click on the album that song, add it, and then find out that that's not their song. It's a cover, and it's like here's the original, or they did a song with the original artist, and so it just pops up the artist.
Gotcha. Did you start your timer?
Oh no, I didn't know we started. That's a good start, right?
I mean,
talking.
Have we started?
I mean, we can.
If the timer hasn't started, we haven't started.
Yeah, but the timer is like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some leeway.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah, we're going. We're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay, cool.
I'll be rolling.
So speaking of androids.
Yes. Oh no, is yours an Android?
Yeah, it's the original droid.
Droid.
Yeah, from 2013.
Do you know they had to buy that from LucasArts?
Droid.
Yeah.
He went ahead and
copyrighted Droid.
That's awesome.
I was like,
copyrighted
dude.
or copywritten?
He had it TM.
Okay, trademark.
Yeah.
Okay.
He made the droid. So
Droid.
Like, and he did it not even like, it was almost like a spite move too, because he didn't have it until like about the time they were talking about doing their thing to Droid.
Like,
Then
Droid.
he's like, hey, let's go ahead and make that mine.
Yeah.
And so then they had to pay him. It's like, oh my god.
That's hilarious.
Like,
Dude, George knows how to make money.
he knows how to make money.
Dude knows how to make money. And like, I think, do you think he's still, I know he sold Star Wars for what, $4 billion?
It was something dumb.
4.9 billion, something like that, almost 5 billion.
Yeah.
Do you think he still receives any royalties at all?
You know, that's a good question. I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, because you can sell it. I guess it depends on what their contract is, right?
But I mean, it went from like, I make all the money, to him being like, okay, I'll take 10% and you guys can have it.
Yeah, I would.
Because that makes so much money. Because like, what else is he like? I mean, I guess he's got enough money to not need to make money, but you know, people that make money want to keep making money.
Wait, how much is he worth?
A lot.
Yeah, so like, does he need to keep making money?
Is it worth at least $5 billion? No, not necessarily.
Because just in the cell alone, he never
About
needed to work
5.
again.
Yeah, 5 or more.
It was like, as soon as he sold it, it was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, but if you're not replenishing your
Yeah,
funds, eventually you'll run out. Eventually he would run out.
Not him. His kids.
depends on how lavish of a lifestyle he likes to live.
I mean, as long as he's not being Nicolas Cage.
Nah, he usually eats food at like mall food courts.
Exactly. Like he probably will take him a minute to run through his money. A minute being he's gonna be dead and it's gonna be his correct.
1 minute's pretty fast to run through billions.
I mean, is that the same as a New York minute?
You think maybe then he's just at this point he's probably making money from investing in things.
I mean, it'd be smart, like right?
Yeah, that's
Just
probably
pay
what he's
attention
doing.
to the stocks and
That's
everything.
probably I don't know anything about George.
Yeah, I'm not gonna guess what he's doing. The
I mean,
man's
we are on
crazy.
first name basis, but I don't really know much about what he does.
Oh, you're on a first name basis.
Yeah, George.
George Lucas.
Yeah.
So you don't give the full name?
No, just George.
Okay. That sounds awkward and it feels weird.
Does it? Should
Yeah.
just be like, hey George.
No, it feels weird just hearing you say it that
Oh,
way
just
and
George?
knowing who you're talking about.
Yeah, George, my buddy, my buddy George.
Yeah, just no.
He wrote a cult classic.
Star Wars.
No, THX, whatever it's called. THX something.
You know more of the like, what would that be called?
What?
It's not mainstream. It's like niche. You know more of the niche world. There's another word for it though.
History?
What? No.
Is that what you're looking for?
No.
History? Like the fact that he made American Graffiti and THX some numbers? Because that's where the THX comes from for the the
Production
sound
company?
studio. Yeah, the sound production. Yeah, because that's his sound studio, and it's THX, and it's in so much stuff.
It
But,
is.
yeah, that's his.
Well, it makes
And,
sense why it only makes noises. It never like.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's a sound studio.
It's like,
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, and that's they got their name from his first movie. Pretty sure THX was his first movie.
Okay.
Which, just like Star
You made
Wars,
American
it's
history, you said?
huh?
You made what?
American Graffiti.
Graffiti. Okay.
Yeah, American Graffiti, a movie about people racing cars.
Why is it called American Graffiti?
Because it's about what do you call them? Greasers.
Okay.
It's about greasers.
So why is it called American Graffiti?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
I feel like it's a dumb name if there's not graffiti in them.
There's probably graffiti at some point.
I hope so.
The
alright?
title's in graffiti.
Like, it better be about graffiti.
The title it's American, and then graffiti is in graffiti.
Be like art style.
Yeah.
Saying graffiti feels like it's such a like slang word. The way you
graffiti.
said that, I was like, it's in graffiti.
Graffiti.
Oh, no.
What a good word, graffiti.
No, it's a terrible word, really.
Yeah, but so speaking of droids, do you remember Operation Jade Helm?
No.
Jade Helm 2015? Woo! You don't?
So, okay, so these past, like, I'll go ahead and just say almost 10 years,
Yeah.
when it comes to stuff in the media and news, I just tune it out so hard. And now I kind of just live in my own little bubble of existence.
Nice.
And the only things I allow into it are movies that interest me and friends.
Sounds relaxing.
It is, actually. It's very relaxing because I learned literally nothing except for random history facts because I enjoy that.
I like history too. Well, this is a piece of recent history.
Okay.
Operation Jade Helm
Let's hear it.
is a military training exercise where the U.S. For studying asymmetrical warfare.
Asymmetrical warfare.
Yeah, asymmetrical warfare. That's the fourth generation of warfare. Like first generation being rank and file on the battlefield. Rank and file, and then we started moving to. I think third generation was basically what we've been doing, like the war in Iraq and stuff. I think that was third generation, where
So it's guerrilla
where
warfare
it's-
second generation?
No, second generation was like Revolutionary War.
Yeah, that was closer to guerrilla warfare tactics.
Well, no,
I mean not throughout the whole course.
because they would go march into fields with like hundreds of men.
They stopped doing that halfway through when we realized that we couldn't beat the military like that.
Yeah,
Or
we
the-
couldn't
the
fight their
British
way.
like
We
that.
had to fight.
Yeah,
the,
so we
yeah.
changed our tactics.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I think second generation was guerrilla. You're probably right. I'm not too familiar with this. Third generation though is now where we do like augmented, where it's like you've got your ground forces augmented with air support and stuff like that, where it's but like drones, whatever, like things like that. But it's also smaller units. We don't send out masses of men into one location. If we do, they're
It's
very
tactical warfare.
yeah, it's much more tactical, exactly. And then asymmetrical warfare is the next step beyond that, where it's more
Sending
about
one man.
information, right? Where it's more about information,
Okay.
right? If you have, like, where you want to fight the war without any people, right? If you can win a
So
battle
if you
without
win the
having to fight,
information warfare first.
yeah. So like, because if you can just get people to not fight, then you win.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get
You know
it.
what I'm
Like, because
saying?
at that point, you basically hold it over their heads, whatever you can. And
Like how much you know and like what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Essentially, like it's kind of like the follow-up of the Cold War.
Yeah, because
in
at
a
that
way,
point, it's just,
you
hey,
know,
we're
where
going
it's
to keep
like-
you at arm's length.
We're just arms race. Whoever has the strong, like it's just deterrent through having strength. And so asymmetrical warfare, I think, is kind of more like that. But so as part of that is an asymmetrical training exercise. The American, I think it was the Army. I don't think it was like I don't think it was Marines or I'm pretty sure it was the Army. They sent. Anyways, I'm sorry, my brain.
Okay.
So the training exercise was that they wanted to have sleeper cells infiltrate America.
Okay.
So our own army did a training exercise where they deployed thousands of troops into America with the idea being that they'll blend in with everybody. And if you never hear about it again, the operation was successful. It's been 4 years. It was declared over last year.
Isn't it successful anyways? They're just other Americans. Just go back home. Just go to your basic training. Do whatever you need to. Come home, and that's it. That's it. You successfully did your mission.
Yeah.
Because if you're an American soldier, God bless, you're an American soldier and you come back to the U.S. or don't leave the U.S. after your training, what really changes?
Right? No, but you make a good point there. I'm not quite sure what that.
Like, they successfully
really-
integrated themselves as Americans. Good
Yeah.
job, American soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah. But as sleeper cells, right? So where it's like, you know, those like spy movies where the dude's like living a
sleeper
normal
agents
life
and
and then he
stuff like
gets caught, you know, gets the like activation and it's like, oh, gotta go pull out all my blah 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 and get all my gear and here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was successful.
So any army or
So anybody in the
military
South.
anybody in the military ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yes.
they get a call from their freaking CEO or this is CEO, wow. Their commanding officer, CEO.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, yeah, we're about to do this mission. All right, get your stuff packed up, right? They just answer the call because they're soldiers.
Yeah.
You don't need to be sleeper cells to do that. They're just
Right.
soldiers.
Right. Anyways, so that was the Operation Jade Helm. It was very interesting. That was a very interesting time.
That's such a dumb thing.
It was a very interesting time because people were really panicking a lot because they released a training map that had it was just the West Coast,
Yeah.
but it had the states. It had red team and blue team in the states
Okay.
and everything. And so they released these maps and people were like really panicking and like thinking that it was like that the military was about to start overthrowing local state governments to put in their own people and stuff. Like, if people took it to a whole extreme. And at the time,
that's a beautiful thought.
At the time, Walmart was doing a lot of remodeling and things where.
Was that when they were doing all they bought like a bunch of coffins?
Yes, this is about the same time when they're like, you're talking about the thousands and thousands.
Yeah,
of
they
coffins.
bought like an ungodly amount of coffins.
Yes.
You're like, Walmart, what the hell are you doing?
Yes, this is about that same time. And then they were also, the military was working in conjunction with Walmart to do some like remodeling work and everything, where there was several Walmarts that would get shut down and then people would break in and look around and they're like, they completely gutted entire Walmarts and then started, I don't even know what they were doing in there, but then now they're reopened and they look just like Walmart. So like,
What were they doing?
what the crap was that about?
Training facilities.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I mean, honestly, like, what would be the purpose of something like that?
But what I'm assuming you're wondering, those at home, is how did I use Droid as a segue?
I totally forgot you did that.
They didn't. So that's where this comes. We're there. We're now there. I'm going to talk about that.
Okay,
How
yeah.
Droid was a segue. So, I was watching Colonel. I actually showed you this the other day. I was watching this Colonel on C-SPAN who was explaining what they had an asymmetrical training facility, and he was explaining what all they did there and everything. And in that, there's just a throwaway line because they took calls from people watching, and he answered their questions. But there was just a throwaway line where he says, "At this facility, it's really useful at this facility. We can do things where we'll have autonomous robots walk up and down the streets, either dressed as civilians or in military outfits for the use of training with soldiers. So we can give them a lot of real-life experience." There's a throwaway autonomous
You didn't
robots.
watch that. You didn't show me that video. We talked about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to see it?
No, not particularly.
Okay.
That stuff to me is just another part of people being people. So
I'm just saying, in 2015, the military already has autonomous robots.
yeah, which is super cool actually.
Well, remember, the military is 50 years ahead of what they tell us.
I mean, technically it was 10 years. They said
No, it's 50.
it was 10.
It's 50.
Where? Have you heard 50? Because as far as I've ever been aware, it's always been 10 years ahead of us.
Think
They're
about
a full
how-
decade ahead.
Think about how quickly technology...
Yeah, and that
ramps up.
doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that it consistently just also they ramped up just as consistently.
Right. They did.
So then they would stay at the same pace 10 years ahead.
No, 50.
Oh.
Because you still release it in the increments.
Yeah, you would release it in the increments, which would consistently be 10 years ahead.
50, bro.
Oh.
All right.
No, because you release something the next year, right? 1 year, boom. And then you release something new the next year, right? Boom. That doesn't mean they went from 10